Rarely are events like this caught on video. That's why you need to see these videos for yourself, or else you would never believe they were true. Number 11. A man becomes so distracted watching an oncoming train that he doesn't notice the one coming from behind, and all his terrified wife can do is let out a surprised moan. In a way, she probably saved him. There is such little clearance that, had he turned around, he probably would have gotten clipped in the shoulder. This is the closest I've seen anyone come to getting splattered. He is so lucky that no side mirrors or other objects were sticking out. Number 10. When a fire fills a downtown Philadelphia apartment building with smoke, one of the residents living at the top climbs all 19 floors down by himself with nothing but his bare hands. Thinking fast, he quickly devises a plan to climb down using the balcony columns for support. Firefighters and police have nothing to catch him with. If he falls, then the only assistance they can provide is by guiding him with flashlights and a giant spotlight. It does seem to help him find his way, but it could blind him as well, so they have to be careful to stay away from his eyes. Eventually, he touches the sidewalk and is safe. When you look at this view from the bottom, it's hard to believe anyone would be brave enough to make it all the way down this building without chickening out halfway. But I guess when the alternative is potentially losing your life, you don't have much of a choice. Number 9. A man is pumping gas in Detroit when he notices a small spider crawling along his gas cap. So he takes a lighter and sets the poor bug aflame, along with everything else in sight. Panic makes him remove the nozzle and unwittingly transform the pump into a flamethrower. Now the fire spreads across the ground as the burning gasoline pools outward. A massive burst of flames looks imminent until an emergency overhead system kicks in and douses the flames with a barrage of special chemicals, all because of a single spider. So next time you are fueling up at a busy gas station, just remember that somebody like this person could be standing on the other side. Number 8. I analyzed a video a while back of a barefoot man with white eyes who is able to keep up with a speeding car. Since then, new footage of the encounter has appeared, and this time he is in the streetlight for a better look, and you even get to hear him speak. In this bonus footage, he says he's going to end their lives as he charges towards them. His voice is full of anger, and he is sprinting as fast as humanly possible. I counted no less than 8 running steps in approximately 2 seconds here. Watch this part in slow motion and tell me if I'm right. Number 7. A YouTuber captures an apparition on his doorbell cam that somehow changes shape and color. First, it has an oversized white head with no face, then it becomes see-through to the point where you can make out the bush behind it, and then it switches to a blinding white color without getting thinner. The whole time it somewhat resembles a human in height and gait, but how? Since this is the only footage of the apparition, we may never know. Number 6. A broken power line wraps itself around a traffic light in Manchester, New Jersey, and this utility worker has to safely retrieve it. He grabs the fallen end and whips it over with all of his might. The line dislodges after 3 tries, but unluckily for him, it lands directly in a pothole filled with water, and the current carries clear across the road. The whole reason he doesn't drop lifelessly to the ground must be his yellow suit, which I assume is fully insulated to protect against high voltage electricity. He runs away as a spectacular light show darkens the sky above. The video is taken from the dash cam of a Manchester police officer who is directing traffic away from the power line as a precaution against this very event. Number 5. A police chase in West Charlotte, North Carolina, changes from the federal highway to residential roads with a single right turn. Someone reported this Honda Civic as missing, and the group of teenagers inside are all suspects. They blow through numerous intersections and one-way streets until they come across their final obstacle, a slow-moving train carrying tons of scrap metal. It's like a scene out of a movie, and what happens next is something you need to see to believe.
The person who was driving this black Honda jumped out at a railroad track, run along the tracks, and now he has jumped onto this train.
The driver is out in an instant. His friends open the door but then have second thoughts and surrender. Meanwhile, the leader does his best to keep up with the train. Running across the wooden tracks isn't easy, and a single false step could send him stumbling under its massive wheels as he reaches out for something to grab onto. He pulls himself up, but the only way he can stay on board is by wedging himself between two cars with his arms and legs fully extended. The train is not going very fast or anything, but getting slowly crushed would be even worse when you think about it. It's a terrifying position to hold for any length of time, and as the train comes to a stop, he sprints into the woods, full of adrenaline but short on an actual plan.
But again, I expect you're going to see some police cars on the ground coming into this area very quickly to try to find this person who is here in the woods.
The police helicopter loses him for a bit in the dense tree line, so they set a perimeter around the neighborhood and eventually find him before the day is through. Number 4. A man is walking along a bridge when suddenly a train comes fast in the opposite direction. He has only moments to react and trips while turning. His stumble costs him valuable seconds, and the train is barreling down. It's pretty obvious he isn't going to make it, but here's the thing though, this video isn't real, and if you were like me, you were totally fooled up to this point. Yes, that is a real person, and yes, that is a real train, but it is actually two separate shots spliced together to create the illusion of one continuous scene. It's called superimposed editing, and if I didn't tell you, you would probably still continue to believe this video was real. I know I did. Number 3. A YouTuber called Douglas Cash stands at the entrance of these caves in the Bahamas. The stunning scenery grows less colorful and more claustrophobic as he takes a few hesitant steps inside. Soon he finds himself staring down a tunnel that looks barely large enough to support a human when a wild shriek fills his ears. Listen to this and tell me what it could possibly be, animal or otherwise.
Boy, you know I ain't going down yet, right?
Whatever it is, it sounds about medium-sized, but vicious enough to tear your throat out if given the chance. Even Douglas doesn't seem to recognize the menacing noise and decides not to go any deeper, but since he did come all the way out to this area by foot to do some exploring, he decides to hang around the cave entrance for just a bit longer. After all, it's brighter here, and he doubts whatever he heard is going to come out of the darkness. He explores for another 2 minutes or so, studying the natural rock formations and whatnot, and then decides to call it a day. But unknown to him, looking back at him from the darkness are two glowing eyes that quickly disappear, and if you listen closely, you can hear some kind of chittering language that could indicate a certain level of intelligence. Number 2. This neighborhood in Land O'Lakes, Florida, was built on shaky ground, and now the earth is reclaiming the houses as its own. Within the course of 9 hours, this house is completely snapped in half and sinking into a swell of groundwater so deep that it engulfs a palm tree with ease.
Look at the water, see how much water?
¿Y si lo pasa a nosotros?
Hours later, the sinkhole has easily quadrupled in size and is busy dismantling a second house. There is nothing that can be done as the foundation is ripped away. Here you can see how close this third pink house comes to being lost in the abyss. Only a small strip of land protects its corner from going under, but somehow it holds firm and the family is able to recover their belongings. Sadly, all of the remaining houses had to be condemned because even though they were spared this time, the sinkhole could randomly widen at any minute. It's a terrible situation, but perhaps most terrifying is that moments before their eventual collapse, you would never suspect that anything was wrong. All of the houses look structurally sound in these photos taken months prior. The yards and driveways look level, the telephone poles stand straight up without leaning, and the roads likewise look smooth and have little cracks. In other words, exactly like your neighborhood probably looks right now. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying my narration. Are you curious about what I look like in real life? Then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT to find out. Do you like my narrations? If you answered yes, then tap the follow button and thank you for your support. It's a proven fact that generosity makes you a happier person. So if you're generous enough to hit the subscribe button and the bell beside it, then thank you. Also, don't forget I upload a new video here on YouTube every Thursday and Saturday. Number 1. It's 2 in the morning, and a man is walking home from work in Dayton, Ohio, when the ground opens up beneath his feet and swallows him whole.
Just walking casually walking, and the concrete underneath me collapsed.
Before he knows it, he is staring up at a complete stranger who is pointing a camera at him from about 10 feet above. Also sticking up from the ground like a spear next to him is a broken piece of steel bar used to reinforce the sidewalk. It gave way just a few feet from where he landed and nearly went straight through him. Somehow, despite falling through a jagged chunk of sidewalk, he is unscratched and able to move. Rescue workers eventually get him out with a ladder before any more of the sidewalk breaks off and seals him inside. The city later explains that this was likely due to a high volume of basements in the area, so if you happen to live here, watch your step. Watching these videos on full screen is a major test of courage, so if you want to hang out in the comment section instead, I really don't blame you.